Elementary Algebra, Lesson 2.5, and I do know that this is going to take more than one video, so I'm just going to call this one right off the bat, 2.5a, and it's called Formulas and Percents. And what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be doing some story problems and see where those lead us. Okay, in this section we continue solving equations by working with formulas and percent. So a formula is an equation that contains more than one variable. So if you have this, that's just an equation. A formula is going to look like this. It has more than one variable. Okay? Not a real big deal, not really scary, but that's pretty much what we're looking at. So for instance, if we're looking at a rectangle and we have a length, these are lowercase l's for length, and we have a width, we have two variables. And if we're interested in finding the perimeter of that rectangle, we take the lengths of all of the sides and add them together. And that equals the perimeter. And a lot of times, instead of writing it this way, they'll just say 2w's plus 2l's equals p. So 2 times w plus 2 times l. So let's say in this particular problem, like example 1, the perimeter p of a rectangular livestock pen is 40 feet. So instead of the p here, they're telling us that it's 40 feet. So they're saying if you start here and you measure here to here to here to here, that's going to be 40 feet. If the width is 6 feet, so if instead of writing w we put a 6 there and a 6 there, find the length. Alright, so let's take this formula here, and our width is 6, right? And we're trying to find the length. So this is 12 plus 2l equals 40. And remember, given a problem like that, we're trying to get the l by itself. We're getting the things that are the furthest away rid of. And we have 2l equals 28, right? And then we divide both sides by 2. L equals 14. Apologize for the sniffling that I have here. I don't know if I'm allergic to something or what, but maybe it's math. Alright, so the length is 14. So if I were to take 14 plus 6 plus 14 plus 6, I better get my perimeter, the distance around 40 feet, and I do, so I did it correctly. So example 2 says, find y when x equals 4 in the formula. Okay, now let me give you some information here that's always true. If you have one equation with two variables, you cannot solve it unless somewhere they give you one of the numbers for the variable. You cannot solve it. It's impossible. So if they give you an equation like this, assume that they're giving you other information as well. So what they're saying is if x is 4, we're going to put a 4 in wherever we see x. Subtract 12, and we get 2y equals negative 6. Divide by 2, divide by 2. I don't know why I'm slanting so far to the right. Okay. And we get y equals negative 3. Alright, so let's look at some geometry examples. We did one with a rectangle, now we're going to do one with a triangle. And there is a formula for a triangle. That's the height, and this is the base. Okay, and the formula for the area of a triangle, and sometimes I'll do that for area of a triangle, is 1/2 the length of the base times the height. Okay, key thing. This is not the height, nor is this the height. The height is always from the base straight up to the very tippy top of the triangle. And this little box here means that it's a 90-degree angle or a right angle, or that it's perpendicular. Perpendicular is a line that forms a 90-degree angle with another line. So that's what the height is. So that being the case, when they give you a particular formula, let's say they say find the area of the triangle if we know the height is, or find the area of the triangle if the height is 12 and the base is 20. So that's going to be 1/2. What did I say the base was? 20. And the height is 12. So we had two variables right here, or actually we had three variables, but I gave you the answer to two of them, so you're just finding this. So the area then of that triangle is going to be 1/2 of 20, which is 10, times 12, which is going to be 120. So the area of that triangle is 120. Okay? But one of the things that you'll learn in algebra is a lot of math people are just downright evil, and they try to make life very, very difficult. But what you have to do is fool these evil fools into showing them that you know what you're doing. Because this one, example 3, is called an abstract equation, because abstract meaning you're not looking for a numerical number. What they're asking you to do here is when it says solve this for y, it means get rid of everything on one side of the equal sign except the y. That's all they're asking you to do. Get rid of everything on one side of the equal sign except the y. So we're going to do this just like we've done the past ones. If we're trying to find y, we get rid of the numbers that are the furthest away from y. 3x. Now remember, 3x cannot be separated. If I move the 3, I also have to move the x. So I'm going to move them both at the same time. So 3x minus 3x is 0. And I can't combine 6 and 3x, so I just have to write them that way. And then I've got a 2 there times the y, so to get rid of it I divide. And if I divide one side by 2, I have to divide the other side, not just one of those terms, not just the 6 or not just the 3x, but the entire thing. Okay? And this is where it gets not really too tricky, but one of the things that's true is that if you have the entire other side over one number, you can split these up. I can actually write this as 6 over 2 minus 3x over 2. Notice how I split them up, put that over 2 and that over 2. And what that does is it makes it simpler because 6 over 2 is 3. So what does that say? It says y equals 3 minus 3x over 2. And that is what I had up there, right? Okay, one of the things that you might want to keep in mind when you do this is you usually try to keep the variables at the beginning. So I'm going to rewrite this. I'm just going to take this and put it first. And that one looks prettier because they usually like to have the x here first and then the whole number last. It's not wrong to do it this way. This is just, I guess you could say, more correct. Alright, let's look at example 4. Now notice these are getting pretty tough pretty quick. Alright, so let's get rid of my stuff here. And I'm going to go ahead and pause and put example 4 on here and then come back. Okay, so there's the problem. And we're solving for v. We want to get that all by itself. Okay, so in order to do that, let's go ahead and again get rid of the stuff furthest away from that v. So I'm going to add it to both sides and end up with h plus 16t squared. You don't have to understand what's going on at all, what the 16t squared represents or anything. You just follow the rules. Okay, now we get rid of the t by dividing here and dividing here. those go away. And so now we have b equals all of that. Alright, and I am just going to stop at that point because there's no sense in splitting these up. I mean, we could split those up and write it as h over t plus 16t squared over t equals v, but it doesn't really simplify. It doesn't really do anything. So we're just going to leave it looking like that. Okay, example number 5, and they're asking you to solve for y. So we're trying to get y all by itself. Alright, so what we're going to be doing here is trying to get rid of the numbers that are attached to the y so it can be on the left hand all by itself. When you have a division problem, y minus 1 divided by x or over x, we try to get rid of the denominator first, okay? Because really it's kind of the furthest away from the y. Y and the negative 1 are right there close together. The x is down here. So let's get rid of that. And remember, when you get rid of something divided, you multiply. So we get y minus 1, because those cancel. And remember, your x can just go up there on top. Okay, and what are we solving for? We're solving for y. So the only other thing I'm going to do here is add 1. So y equals 3x over 2 plus 1. And I am done at that point. So I'm going to stop here for 2.5a. In the next video, we'll start basic percent problems, and that'll be 2.5b.